2023 Nigerian presidential election will be held on the 25th of February 2023, with other federal elections to be held on the same date with the state election, which will be held on the 11th of March 2023. The mode of voting, transmission and collation of result has been a topic of debate in the National Assembly down to civil societies. And it is on this note that we would like to discuss on the electronic transmission of election results. Good evening and welcome to National Talk. I'm Sela Elisha Dasham and Lois Rike is on standby to give us the news. Good evening, Lois.
You had a good day.
I actually did. Thank you so much, Lois.
You're welcome. Straight into the news ahead of 2023. Obasanjo, Obi, Wike, others meet in London. United Nations not increasing Nigerian education budget to 20% will jeopardize 2030 global target. Jonathan Sambo, others urge politicians in credible elections ahead of 2023. And according to INEC, electronic transmission of election results stands. Here are the details. The crisis plunging the People's Democratic Party, PDP, may be far from over, as yesterday former President Olusegun Obasanjo and the presidential candidates of Labour Party, Peter Obi, met with Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State in London. This is even as the presidential candidate of the PDP, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, yesterday met with Governor Wike in London for reconciliation talks. The meetings came after the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Bola Tinubu, had on Monday night met with the Rivers governor and his associates also in London. Although details of the meeting between Obasanjo, Obi and Wike were not revealed, it was collected that it was linked with talks and alliances ahead of the 2023 presidential polls. Confirming the meeting, Chief Akin Oshuntokun, former political advisor to Chief Obasanjo, said, according to reports, that the leaders met in London. They discussed politics and the formation of alliance ahead of 2023. Some allies of Governor Wike who were present at the London meeting included Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State, Governor Ekwezie Opezu of Abia State, and former Cross River State Governor Donald Duke, amongst others. The United Nations UN has cautioned that if Nigeria's present low public investment in the education sector remains the same, it is unlikely that it will not achieve the SDG 4 global agenda for universal, inclusive and equitable basic education for all school children by 2030. Therefore, the United Nations has warned the country to add its budgetary provision from its current 7% to 20% with clear accountabilities on the delivery. The warning came following the official launch of the reports of independent evaluation of Sustainable Development Goals 3 and 4 by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on Thursday. Speaking during the event at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, Matthias Smells, the United Nations Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator in Nigeria, who gave this position, observed that Nigeria is the first country to undertake and deliver independent comprehensive evaluations of Sustainable Development Goals 3 and 4. Noting that the reports show how fast the government has established vigorous institutional monitoring and support frameworks at the national and subnational levels to support effective implementation of the SDGs across the whole country. According to the United Nations representative, while the findings of these evaluations show some improving health and education outcomes in Nigeria, the reports also contain some disturbing analysis. We must collectively push forward with education and health sector precise transformative initiatives such as prioritizing and revitalizing basic primary health care and improving the quality of teachers and learning in out of classrooms. Vice President Osinbajo in his keynote address stated that building the commitment and incentive needed to prioritize and raise basic educational financial up to 12% at all levels is crucial. The Vice President noted that with the adoption of the agenda and the SDGs, Nigeria has set for itself a vision to end extreme poverty and to safeguard our planet by the year 2030. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, Princess Orikblokpe Adefulure, in her opening statement, noted that effective implementation of the SDGs requires periodic evaluation to guarantee advanced measurement, generate knowledge, and inform policy shift. Amina Mohammed, the United Nations Deputy Secretary General, in her message at the occasion, thanked Orilokpe and the United Nations team in the country for organizing this important and timely event. Strengthening the Nigerian healthcare system is the key to be better prepared for current and future pandemic. Now, former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan, his vice Namadi Sambo, and other eminent Nigerians have dwelled on credible votes ahead of the 2023 general elections. While Jonathan called for free and fair elections and the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) should play its role without partiality, Sambo appealed to candidates and political parties to adopt issue-based campaign and shun the use of hate or foul language. On Thursday, they both spoke at the annual Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida Legacy Dialogue, which held in Abuja. He said that with a peaceful, free and fair election next year, the nation would definitely mark yet another significant landmark in its march towards sustainable democracy. Sambo, who said that in 2022 dialogue put together by the Ibrahim and Mariam Babangida Presidential Library Foundation with the broad theme Issues in Africa's Democratic Journey is unique and apt, especially as it comes ahead of another electioneering process, adding that political stability in Nigeria's democracy is as tactical as stability in Africa's democratic journey. Commending the nation for witnessing 6 successful elections since the return to democratic rule in Nigeria in 1999. He also called on INEC to guarantee adequate voter education and enough preparation for hitch-free elections, adding that Nigeria must continue to get it right as a positive example for other countries in West Africa and beyond. The former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshomole, also speaking, said for the nation to unite, we need competent leaders, adding that any government that refuses to implement compulsory basic education is guilty. The problem of the country is the breakdown of the value system, Senator Dino Milaye said, lamenting that drugs have taken over the youths. Professor Jibril Ibrahim, the keynote speaker, applauded the role Ransom Kuti played as health minister under Ibrahim Babangida when he was the military president. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Mohammed Musa Bello, who stated that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is building on the foundation laid by past leaders, including former President Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, adding that the signing into law of Electoral Act 2022 by President Buhari has far-reaching positive outcomes that will also reinforce the confidence of citizens in our electoral processes, leading ultimately to a more stable polity. In her welcome address, Aisha Babangida, the convener of the Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida Legacy Dialogue, said the event brought together some of the finest minds in Nigeria to deliberate the prospects for the future of the nation as Nigerians look forward to next year's transitional election. Also in attendance were the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Yusuf Datti Baba Ahmed, the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Adewole Adebayo. Others were former governor of Niger State, Muhazu Babangida Aliyu, former minister of Youth and Sports, Solomon Dalung, former Minister of Special Duties, Kabiru Turaki, former Minister of Information, Labaram Maku, former Minister of State Health, Architect Gabriel Adauku, former Minister of State, also present, Works Ambassador Bashir Yuguda, and former Minister of State, FCT, Chief Chuka Odom, amongst others. And finally, over the last 3 electoral cycles, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has constantly pursued to apply technology to boost the credibility and safety of the electoral process in Nigeria. This has deepened in recent times. Consequently, within the last 2 years, the Commission has applied numerous technological innovations to managing the electoral process. Some of these are the introduction of the INEC results viewing IREV portal, separate portals for nomination of candidates, accreditation of election observers, accreditation of the media for elections, and for nomination of polling agents. In addition, the Commission recently presented online pre-registration of voters as part of the Continuous Voter Registration CRV exercise, which has made it possible for well over 2 million Nigerians to begin and or complete their registration without difficulties within a period of 10 weeks. INEC believes that it has established adequate structures and processes to successfully transmit election results electronically. This transmission of results will add the quality of election result management, and that our engagements with stakeholders shows that the Nigerian public supports it. The Independent National Electoral Commission has cleared the air on the alleged manual transmissions of election results, clearing the air on the interview it had concerning the collation of results. The National Commission and chairman of its Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, noted that the electronic transmission of results remained the same. This was contained in the statement titled Clarification on Electronic Transmission of Election Result made available according to reports on Sunday. The statement read, the Independent National Electoral Commission's attention has been drawn to a misunderstanding arising from a recent short interview granted to a national newspaper on the procedure for result management during elections. Some have interpreted the explanation of result management procedure to mean that the Commission has abandoned the electronic transmission of result and returned to the manual process. This is not correct. For clarity, the procedure for result transmission remains the same as in recent governorship elections in Ekiti and Osun states. There will be no change in all future elections, including the 2023 general elections. We wish to reassure Nigerians that the electronic transmission of result has come to stay. It adds to the credibility and transparency of the process when citizens from polling unit level result on the INEC results viewing portal on real time on election day. There will be no change or deviation in subsequent elections. The entire scope of result management is provided in Section 60, 62, and 61 of the Electoral Act 2022. In line with the provision of the law, the Commission in April this year provided a detailed clarification of the procedure for transmission, collation, and declaration of results, which was shared with all stakeholders and uploaded to our site. Saleh, it's on this note that we continue with today's discussion and on transmission of electoral results by INEC.
Of course, Lois, when we were actually looking at the electronic, transmission of election result, is one thing to actually say, yes, we want to go fully into the electronic transmission of result. Is another thing to look at the infrastructure INEC have, the infrastructure Nigeria have kept in place for INEC to be able to operate. And so it just like you said, looking at this electronic transmission of result, from the very beginning, I think from last year, July, there has been a debate back and forth if really the House really wanted this electronic transmission of result to stay. And we know the debate that went back and forth to some lawmakers walking out and, all that, both from the Senate and also from the House of Reps, before finally they actually came to a consensus, or they came to an agreement that, okay, yes, this electronic transmission of result have actually come to stay, even though people still have their will you permit me to say their doubts about if really this electronic transmission of result is really going to be, because there are lots of questions that will definitely arise. Why are we having this now? How, all this, the why, the hows, and everything that is going concerning that. And, it's really, will baffle Nigerians, because Nigeria will really want to know what INEC have put in place for this.
And, the doubt came especially on Sunday when Festus Okoye, that's chairman of National Commission and chairman of Information and Voters Education Committee of INEC, came to have an interview with a national newspaper, and then there was a misunderstanding of the explanations he gave about electronic transmission of results, and that was why INEC came immediately to clarify that no, they are not going back to the manual way the results have been collated. They want to do it electronically, just like the Act has stated in 63, 62, and then the 61. So they have clarified that this is going to happen electronically, just as it happened in Ekiti and Osun State. But just like you said, people have been asking questions because of the way Nigerian terrain is, and then we know how the network issues and all of that. We know that it happened in Ekiti and Osun State, but now we're talking of 2023 general elections. It's not about one state or some few local governments. We're talking about 774 local governments of the nation, and then we have over 1,000 plus polling units that will have people that the electorate that will be casting their votes 2023. We have the presidential, we have the Senate, we also have the governorship elections all in February, and we are talking about results, submitting results electronically. So Nigerians would definitely ask questions: how is it going to be possible? And you know, INEC has given some ways to,
Lois, even though they have actually given some ways, but definitely we have our doubts about this, because let's take a look at the power sector, for instance. It's important that we look at if Nigeria actually have the power. We know during the 2019-2015 elections, when INEC introduced the card readers, and we know there were situations whereby an INEC official will bring the card reader. It's either we hear that the batteries are down, and you begin to ask questions: what happened? Did you charge this card reader? We had issues of manipulation. We had issues of reprogramming of this card readers. And presently, right now, part of the doubt Nigerians are also raising is the fact that who knows, or how can we actually tell that this result will not be hacked by hackers? Because it's one thing for you to say, yes, we have the structure as INEC, but it's another thing for you to be able to, check if there are, will I say, if everything is in ground. Just like I said, if you look at the power, we've been having issues of power. You agree with me, Lois, that when federal government came, gave us reasons, there was not enough gas. The Minister of Power came and said the reason why is because there was no water in the dam. And later on, we had promises that by July 1st, we'll be having power, and then back and forth. You remember, I think, was it last 2 weeks or so?
You're talking about water in the dam during the rainy season, which we are still in. The power, the national grid collapsed how many times we can count. So talking about power is really an essential part to look at when you're talking about electronic transmission of results. We look at the epileptic kind of power we have in this country. Most places do not even enjoy this power supply as it is. So when you talk about the card readers running out of batteries and all of that, you talk about the power supply now that you want to do it electronically. I think that's one of the questions that Nigerians are asking, if it's going to be possible coming 2023. Just like I said earlier, it's not about Ekiti and Osun State now. It's talking about the whole federation. And we're not just having presidential elections. We have governorship, we have the Senate and all of that.
Of course, House of Reps and all those positions that will be feeding. So just like you've said, if we are going to have governorship election, we're going to be having presidential election. Yes, I know that INEC will actually want to see they have test run all this technology in these two governorship elections that we've had in these various states. But just like you said, it's one thing for you to have in just one or two, but we're talking about having in 28 states, because I know 2 states will be having their governorship election towards the ending of November next year. But then we're going to look at the 28 states, and then looking at the presidential election. Now, let's not forget another criteria that Nigerians also want to look at is the network coverage. How far can we say we actually have the network coverage in Nigeria presently? Because most of these polling units, let's not focus our attention on the urban areas. Let's take a look at the rural areas, for instance. Now, most of the rural areas are running on 2G. Just, I think, was it on Monday or when was it, where we heard one of the network providers are planning to go for 5G. And this 5G is just going to be launched in just 7 states: Lagos, Abuja, Maiduguri, Owerri, and some other states. Now, out of that 6, we're just having just 7 that 5G will be introduced. Now, we're still looking at 2G that most rural areas are running on, 3G that 50% of the nation presently is what is running through. So now, if you're going to say 3G, now you begin to look at the statistics. How many are running on 4G? Okay. So when you look at 4G, it's another thing for you to say that how many parts are actually running on 4G. Okay, we're already having a caller. Hello, good evening. Okay, we'd love you to call us. Let us know what your fields are, what your contributions are. If you think INEC are actually really ready for the electronic transmission of results, because it is really, really a bone of contention, because we really have to look at it. Just like I was saying, Lloyd, so if you take a look at the network coverage in Nigeria, will you say that INEC actually are ready? Because it's one thing for them to say they want to go totally electronically, but it's another thing to check the network coverage in Nigeria.
You know, there's something I just want to take that first to Sukuye said about the BVAS. Is an electronic device that will be used to electronically accredit registered voters within a polling unit and also transmit election results from polling units to an INEC server. The IREV portal, on the other hand, is a web application that will be used by the public to view polling unit election results transmitted to the INEC server. But underneath this simple procedure is a complex technological process, and then, you know, there are possible loopholes that you can look out for during all these processes. It's one thing for the technology to be available, and it's another thing for the technical know-how. You can have them available, and then the people using them might not even know how to use them properly. Because when you're talking about, you know, Nigeria, we can be funny sometimes. We want to adopt some of this technology that other advanced countries are using during their elections. But when it comes to this country, you just find a lot of loopholes, a lot of gaps, and at the end of the day, the aim of having that thing is, at the end of the day, is not achieved. So these are one of the things that we have to look into. And if INEC really want to use the electronic transmission of results in 2023, they will have to do more than what they are doing right now to ensure that this thing happens as it is, because Nigerians are tired of the issues of rigging when it comes to elections. We are tired of it. I think that's one of the reasons we need fair and transparency. We need credibility when it comes to elections, and that's why I think one of the reasons that this particular technology has been adopted, so that it can be used next year. And this is the first time Nigeria will definitely use it, like the whole country. So we don't know how far it will go. Definitely we have our doubts. Nigerians have their doubts. We have questions we are asking, but all our eyes are on INEC to see how this is going to be possible next year when it comes.
Of course, you know, when you're talking about part of the reasons why they introduced the electronic transmission of results, definitely we know that we're in an era of digital market, and Nigeria cannot be left behind when it comes to advancing from their manual way of doing things to going to technology. I know that the INEC chairman, during it, I think he had a debate earlier, I think around, was it June, where it was organized, and then questions were raised concerning this particular field, looking at the electronic transmission of result. And he said one of the reasons was because of transparency, which you actually stated, security of the INEC officials, looking at also safety, because with the, you know, where we had the COVID, you know, a lot of things were, you know, exposed to Nigerians, our eyes were opened that there are lots of things that we need to do better than the way we've been doing before. But yes, I know with all these reasons that INEC have given transparency, accountability, auditing, and lots other things that they gave the reason why they need to. But we need to actually check other legal issues concerning it. We have to also look at if really as a country we're ready for this. Now, the question that a common Nigeria we ask is, who is responsible for actually educating the electorates on how to go about this electronic voting? Because we know it's not just about the transmission collation of results, but also the ballot, the voting will also be done electronically. I know, just like I said, if we take a look at the card readers, there were issues when that card reader was introduced. The thumb printing, sometimes you have to have a face scan, and then to be sure that if your permanent voter's card, that's your PVC, is actually yours, you know, back and forth. And sometimes there are not enough card readers that are sent to the ballot, to the polling units. You actually look at during the continuous voters registration. Yes. Lawyers, we know what most of Nigerians went through. Presently, right now, I think about 7 million Nigerians are yet to be credited or are yet to be registered. So now if we're having issues where there was a shortage in the registration machines that were sent to the ballot, you know, of various polling units, now what have INEC put in place? Definitely will be questions that Nigerians will ask to make sure that there are enough card readers, technology is there, just like we said. what are we going to run on? Are we running on 2G? Are we running on 3G? How fast would this thing be done? These are questions that Nigerians will ask. And definitely we need, not just answers, but we need very good answers to be sure that when I go there, how will I, or who is responsible for educating me on how I'm supposed to go about various, even just like you said, it's done in 2 states. But then take a look at Nigeria. I mean, the population, we are over 200 million Nigerians. And when you look at the various polling units from the local governments down to state, down to nation, that will give you an idea if Nigeria as a whole, or INEC, really is actually ready for this.
And that's why Namandi Sambo, the former vice president, said there should be proper voter education for this, because of this new technology that has been adopted right now. You have to make the electorate understand what they have to do for this thing to run properly. And you talked about the card readers and how it was some polling units didn't have enough of it. In my polling units, I think 2019, when I went for the to cast my vote, there were a lot of issues with the thumb printing. Some people's fingers were not even picking up and all of that. They had to follow another queue. It was vigorous, and you know how Nigerians, we can be very impatient when it comes to all of these things. So now the technology is even better, or what they're adopting now is even better than the card readers that were adopted earlier. So now we have to have a proper voter education on how to go about these things, on how INEC officials will do these things properly, so that Nigerians at the end of the day will not get tired. People are even complaining their votes don't count, this and that, and all of that, and then you come and you waste the whole day without even casting your vote. Definitely is not going to give us a good name in Nigeria and even the world at large. So this technology needs to be properly taken care of, like educating the electorate on how to go about all those things. And then we're talking about sending the results to the server of INEC before electorate can even go to the portal and see how the thing is being done, real time and all of that. We talk about cyber crimes. We talk about hacking the sites. How are we sure that that will not happen during that time?
Of course, because, from what you said first was actually said, because it's not like immediately you print it, immediately your vote will go straight. It's like it's kind of one person is going to, after everything's been done, it's been snap, you send it, it goes as a PDF file, and then how sure, just like you said, that it will not be tampered? Because Nigeria are smart. There's a situation where we heard that even a school server was being hacked by someone, because then they have a way of cracking whatever password Nigerians are. But then we need to know that who is responsible for auditing these things at the end of the day, because where we're having what will I say, corrupt INEC officials, where just for you to register voters, somebody needs to pay 1,000 or 500 naira just for he or she to be, registered. Now, this is more critical or even more serious, because at this point in time, you're not just going there to register, but you're going there to cast your vote. And you raise a very vital point when Nigerians are already complaining that my votes don't count. And we're having issues of where even the card readers is being reprogrammed. So now, what assurance do I have that after I print, it will not be reprogrammed and this vote will go to another party or go to another candidate at the end of the day? Because right now, Nigerians are at a point where they need a change, and that change is a drastic change, because people are tired of the way things are. And we say we need to change the narrative, and that is why it's important for INEC to make sure that everything is being put in place. And there's this little phase, I actually jotted down something here, phases of the electronic voting. We said the first one here is the biometric registration of the voters. And then secondly, we have the electronic accreditation of the voters. And then we have the electronic balloting, which is also you voting. And then we have the electronic transmission and the collation of this result. And with all these things definitely comes challenges, because we know that it's one thing for you to have all these things being done, but we know that there is no anything that's been introduced newly definitely have its own challenges, back and forth and here and this and that and that. But then, Lloyd, before we go further, I'd like us to take a break, possibly a tea break, where we can officially open the phone lines for our callers, so they can call us and let us hear what their views are. How do they feel about it? Do they feel that INEC are actually ready for this, this ball that they have set rolling? So do not go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break.
ECWA TV Africa keeps you lifted 247. Fixes your day and makes it fulfilled with messages of hope and salvation.
Sin and the devil, they always work hand in hand together.
Christ too and the ministry of the Lord also will be promoted.
This aspect of David's experience we read in our passage of consideration brings this situation very near to ours.
He's majestic in holiness. Praise the Lord.
Groundbreaking shows for every life situation.
Parents don't tell lies because that's always a problem.
But in the north, we have abandoned education.
If you ask me to do anything for Nigeria, please equip me.
It feels great being on never-ending platform.
Heaven gifted songs to lift your spirit up, pull you out of worry, fear, sadness, and even depression. Keep watching ECWA TV Africa. Follow us on all our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the notification button to keep up with our activities.
Welcome back. There have been lots of back and forth. We had some debate in the House of Assembly, and why we're actually bringing that right now, because you know, it's one question that people have asked: Are we just getting away? Are we just abiding right now? So we would like our callers to, call us. Our phone lines are open. It's displayed on your screen. Call us and let us know what your feels are initiative. And just like the network coverage, where we said earlier to someone, and I said we want to go for this network. It varies from places being off because we know the sense. What makes
it's a picture that is going to be sent to the server, and then it's going to come in a proper security or someone that will be, when it comes to sending the Nigerians like proper, is going to be properly done as in the part of INEC right now. How are we sure it's going to be transparent, credible, fair, the way Nigerians want it? How are we sure?
Yeah, that's why, there have been questions that have even been raised, because if I raised the first concern concerning the registration of the voters, where we had bribe of 500 naira, 1,000 naira. It differs. The situations where even the registration machine were not functioning, the situation where it was not even enough. Now we know that there is a time. Some of these machines are being programmed in a way that once it's a particular time, it shuts down. Now, have INEC actually taken this into cognizance, looking at the fact that the population differs from place to places? Will it be able to, register all these voters within this short period of time?
Before the system shuts down,
before the system shut down? These are concerns that Nigerians are raising. Another thing we have to look at, just like you said, is the cyber crime. We've had situations where even a school server was actually hacked. At the end of the day, you can't even trace who and how it was done at the end of the day. Now, that was why I raised a concern. I said the infrastructure on ground, how strong is it? Because we know not everyone in INEC is actually really aware of technology. Once something new is being introduced, people always have mixed feeling welcoming such a new technology or such a new initiative, because people want to know, how will these things be done? We know that when it's done manually, immediately you put your vote, you want to stay there and be sure that your vote count, everything is being done. You are right there. You want everything to be done because we want it to be transparent. I know one of the reasons that INEC said they introduced it for transparency at the end of the day. We're also looking at the safety of some of these INEC officials traveling from one place to another before you take it. We've had issues of ballot boxes being snatched. I think the reason why this was introduced so that we don't have issues of that happening. Back and forth, even though we know that you cannot do away with certain votes not counting because people do not know, but then we're still looking at how that can be reduced too, when that is why INEC have to come in here. Would you be patient enough, because somebody in the rural area that don't know anything about technology, how will he or she be able to do all this? These are concerns also we're raising. I know people have also said, I remember when The Minister for Diaspora, Abira, was talking about Nigerians in Northern Cyprus. She said that people should avoid that part because Nigerians are being maltreated. And then how can INEC look into the issue that people outside the shores of Nigeria can actually vote outside there? We saw that being done in Kenya during the presidential election, where people outside of Kenya will be able to, you know, vote wherever they are. I think we are looking for a day where with your phone, wherever you are, Lois, you can actually just, you know, vote for the candidate of your choice without you necessarily going to even the polling, because your polling unit is supposed to be with you right there. If we're going technology, then we should fully go into technology, where I can be in my house, just hold my phone, go to the wherever, whether it's a website or wherever is it that INEC have created, and you vote. No, now you know these are concerns because Nigerians want to know, if I'm outside Nigeria during this period, can I actually vote? This is a question that somebody needs an answer to, because we really, really want to be part of the change. You cannot say you want the change and you're not there. We've been glamoring that people should come out and vote, but you know, people will really want to know, if I'm not in Nigeria, how can I be able? And then the issue of network, would I have network wherever I am? Because I'm still concerned about the rural areas, Lois. It's really, really a point of concern, because if we say the rural areas are running on 2G, then you know what that means to the present election we're having right now. Because if people are clamoring for change, then you cannot tell somebody in the rural area that is running on 2G. How fast would that network be? So it's really, really important that we look at the infrastructure we have as Nigeria, and what is INEC doing together with the Nigerian government. Because we know, in as much as INEC is being said to be an independent body, but believe you me, it's not totally independent, because they depend on other sister bodies to help them. INEC cannot persecute those who are, like, permit me to say, those who are actually wrongdoers. They cannot do that. They don't have a police of their own, so they will definitely depend on the police. They cannot. That's why we have the NYC even helping them to do things. So now you see, when you're having various sisters body, how can you put them together? NCC will be helping you during your networking, whatever you need to do. So, you know, these are concerns that people have been raising, and I actually wish we actually have, you know, the INEC official here, so that, because there are some very critical questions that need answers. In the back was then where, you know, because INEC will say the media backlashing them, but we need them to be here to give us answers to certain questions. It's one thing for you to put things, but it's one thing for it to come from the horse's mouth, for us to see what has been put in place. If anybody that violates, what will be done to he or she?
You know, it's really necessary for INEC to come out and tell people how these things are going to be done, if it's really going to be reliable or not. Because them avoiding the media, I don't think it will speak well of them. It doesn't matter. The only thing is, you need the media to tell people, to educate people, to enlighten Nigerians to know how dependent you people can be. Because staying away is not going to help matters. The right thing is to come to the media and then tell people what they need to know. I think saying the right words, choosing the right words to say will help Nigerians. When you come to talk to Nigerians, you don't have to play with words and do all of those things. Just like you see what happened with Festus Okoye, when his words were twisted, like he said. So when you go to the media, you tell them what they need to know. You say it the way it should be. Not that you say this today and tomorrow Nigerians are seeing a different thing, or people are interpreting it a different way. So they need to say what needs to be done and how it's going to be done and how reliable that means is going to be. Talking about the electronic transmission of results, we need to know how. And just like you said, is it going to be possible for Nigerians in diaspora that will be able to cast their votes, even them not being in Nigeria? Would they be able to do it just like it was done in Kenya? We've seen Angola were able to do their elections, and other African countries have done their elections successfully. We hope that that's going to be our case next year, 2023, that we'll be able to have a free and fair election, and a hitch-free one for that matter. Because just like you said earlier, a lot of Nigerians are tired. We say our votes don't count. Come out. You tell people, come out and vote. They'll say, after all, my votes will not count. Why should I waste my time the whole day and go? And at the end of the day, nothing comes out of it. We are looking forward to Nigeria that one day we will use our phones. Even if we will not be able to use our phones to cast our votes, we'll have a booth that you can go and cast your votes anytime you want, as far as it's in the stipulated time meant for it. You just go without all the queues, without this off ahead, and cast your votes in peace, and then go. Just like we've seen how hoodlums can hijack some of these electoral processes. We're looking forward to a day that, even as these technologies are being brought to, are being adopted to Nigerians, we know sometimes to adopt all these things is usually very stressful for us to adapt to it. But I'm just hoping that this particular one will be helpful. It will be transparent as far as Nigerians want it to be, and the elections will be fair, it will be credible, and it will be hitch free.
Of course, Lloyd, one thing I'm excited about is that I'm really, really welcoming this electronic, because I think I'm part of the people that, were canvassing that electronic voting, because I remember when this whole debate was going on with some lawmakers being absent, walking out, some people giving some excuses why they feel Nigeria is not ready, whether it's expensive or not. But I think I was part of the people that said, I really love this introduction of this electronic, because really, really, you will agree with me, Lloyd, that with the introduction of this electronic voting, it will really, really reduce the rate of vote buying, and also it will reduce the manipulation of vote, because just like we've seen, the issues of ballot boxes being snatched, I think it will reduce drastically, because you transport, imagine the bulk of paper you have to transport from one place to another. The transportation alone is really, really troublesome. So I think I'm really excited that this has, and I just hope that it has really come to stay, just like INEC said that it has come to stay. So I just hope it will not just be words of mouth, but that really this has come to stay, and that everything that is needed to make sure that it will stand at the end of the day will be there. The power, we have to look at power, and also the issue of seeing that some part of the Northwest will not be able to participate in the election. I think this is something that INEC actually have to look into it, because if you're able to make sure that the security is in place, I think the issue of introducing this will not be a problem to anybody. So we just hope that elections will hold everywhere, because when I saw that on the paper, I was really sad, because it will not be something that anybody would like, that you hear that a part of the country did not hold their election for one reason or the other. We've had some states that presently network have been shut down totally because of the insecurity that is there, or because it's not stable. So I just hope that INEC will look into that, or those peculiar cases of those states, and be able to address the issue of insecurity there, so that network will be restored back then, so that elections will hold. I think it's really a critical issue that INEC have to look into. You don't have to turn a blind eye to such parts of the country, because it's important that every part hold their election at the end of the day.
You just said it's not just INEC that have to do this work. All hands need to be on deck for this thing to be done, because when you're talking of insecurity, we know how massive it is in this country. And just like they've said in the papers that some, especially the Northwest, might not vote because of insecurity, I'm sure that people are not just saying it because of saying they just want to talk. It's because they've seen the level of insecurity of how bandits and Boko Haram, or whatever they call themselves, have done in that region, for them to say that. So not just INEC have to do the work. All hands need to be on deck. All our security agencies need to be on this matter. The federal government have to do more than what they are doing right now for insecurity to be properly caught in those areas, so that election will take place. Because if we're talking of adopting new technology, we should look at the issues on ground, look at our problems, and then when those problems are being tackled, then the technology, I think it will work well around those areas. But if not, I think we'll have a lot to go. And we're just hoping that, most times, like I said earlier, innovations come with so much blood, sweat, and tears. But I'm just hoping that things will be better. People will understand. Good voter education will take place before 2023, and then people will understand how these things will be done, so that at the end of the day, we will not cry and say, why did they even bring this thing? Instead of we progressing and advancing, we are shedding tears that it didn't work for our good. But we are just hoping that this technology that has been adopted by INEC, it will be successful, it will work well at the end of the day. That's just what we are hoping 2023.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lois, for doing this with me. And I just hope we've actually done, more than half justice with this, this topic, because it's really a topic that I know was very dear to Nigerians' heart, because they need to know what will be done, how it will be done, why it is done. Because if you're able to answer all these questions of why you introduce it, how everything will be done at the end of the day, I think Nigerians will be satisfied. This will give them enough reasons to see why I should be there, you know, come February or March for the presidential election and also for the governorship election, wherever I am, to know that I need to be there to actually cast my vote at the end of the day.
I know it's really important. I'll keep telling Nigerians that 2023 belongs to all of us. And if we don't go out in mass to make the change that we are clamoring for, nothing will be done. We'll keep lamenting and criticizing, backlashing the government to do the needful. The vote is in our hands. The change is in our hands. We need to do it. If you say you don't care about the politics, you don't care about whatever that is going to be done next year, I tell you that the policies of the government will be on you. We will all face it at the end of the day. So be sure that you are part of this electoral process and the election coming 2023.
Thank you so much, Lloyd. I think I have to pick the words out of your mouth again, and because we have said it and we keep saying it. If you think that the politics does not affect you, then I'm sorry to let you know that the policy will definitely affect you at the end of the day. So let's all come out in our mass, get your PVC, and when it comes to the election, make sure you're out there to cast your vote for whichever candidate you want to rule Nigeria. Thank you so much to our viewers, and thank you to our caller that actually tried to call us and then the network was not really favorable to him. Thank you so much, and thank you to everyone that made this program a success. Until we come your way again next week, do have a blessed weekend.